Yo, 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 Miss Q. It's your boy Anthony here with.
Jayden Kelly again.
And today we are here with the Week 10 Weekly Waspel. Now, this one, for me, it felt pretty repetitive with like how Jesus does a miracle and says that faith saves us and.
Same thing as all the
Yep.
other ones.
But Jayden has a very, 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 like a big idea, or not really idea, but just tell us, what do you feel about this gospel?
Um, so I had a couple takes of from this that I didn't really like. I didn't agree with this one specifically. Um, so when the blind beggar is like praying to God, asking for like, oh Jesus, Son of David, um, like please take pity on me. I found that the word pity was kind of out of place there, because if if like God and Jesus like say they are no more and no less than their followers, then why is the beggar saying pity? Because it's almost as if like he wants them to at least. Pity is a kind of word that like you would use to like beg for mercy, I would say. Please do something, or like please help me. So it's kind of weird how a God is being prayed to in a way that makes the follower feel so low.
So, what you feel from this gospel is just like how others feel they are lesser than God or they're lesser in worth, basically, right?
Yeah, even though like God and Jesus says they're no better than us.
Yeah. So, especially in early church, just church history in general, over time, there's been a lot of people who have felt that sin cannot be forgiven, and this is definitely seen with Judas, who was still a disciple of Jesus, but he saw himself so less after he was just like, oh, I messed up and all this. I'm lesser than God. God can never forgive me and all this stuff. That's a very extreme sense of feeling. And I guess you can see that inside this gospel where the guy is just like, hey, I've done wrong. And honestly, fully, we have done like in church belief, I think the view is that we are wrong, but also in the sense that we can be forgiven as long as we follow Jesus. So I can see that confusion of you just being like, why are we saying we're lesser? Why are we?
Why is this? Why is this? Why is this?
Exactly.
Why isn't doing it?
So it can be confusing, definitely, when people see themselves as unworthy of God's love, God's mercy. And so I'm not too sure chronologically where this gospel exactly is, because in some of the previous gospels, we've seen that Jesus revealed himself as one with God, like part of the Trinity, right? And so within this, I feel like depending on the order, we could see this as either the blind man, I believe, right?
There's the blind man, the beggar.
Yeah, so the blind man is either saying that he's lesser and unworthy of God's love, or he doesn't know about this and that he's merely just stating that, just like, how always, like that stereotype with Canadians where they always say sorry and all this stuff when they don't really have to. It could be that depending on like where this is in the time of events, right?
Right.
But I definitely see that confusion because the Gospels aren't in order.
No,
So
definitely.
we flip-flop. We went from like, we're going to be seeing Jesus being born, and right now he's already born, so it's really confusing, right?
Right now he's like in the middle of his prime.
Exactly. Just like, it's really confusing sometimes. But of course, it's always nice to have these conversations in order to like address that. So depending on order, it could be either or. But I understand that confusion of people feeling that they're not worthy for God's love.
Right. And then another point I kind of want to point out is that there is a line that says, "Go your way, your faith has believed in you," or "Your faith has saved you." I find this kind of weird, considering like simply believing in someone who may or may not have existed somehow like healed him. Well, in the gospel he existed, but simply believing in this person somehow cured his blindness. I'm gonna have to say no, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly like what happened, but I feel as if it doesn't make sense, because magic doesn't really exist according to scientific standards at least.
I understand that, especially when specifically the quote of "your faith has saved you." It's kind of hard to believe for many people, especially even Christians themselves, because you really gotta be like fully devout in order to think that just through faith you can be saved. But Christians do believe this. As a Christian myself, I believe that, but in the sense that it heals you and all that sort, I understand that, because scientifically it's like, just as we know, it's like a miracle. Like what? How that
It
just
make
can't
sense.
be it, right? So I understand that like confusion, and definitely that has like caused issues within the church in itself, just like prosperity gospel and all of that. I don't know if it's the right word, but like mega churches where they're just like, oh, all this stuff, I can perform miracles through my faith, right?
Right.
I think what I believe from this gospel and what I got from it is that specifically faith in God will bring us to salvation once, like we pass away and all that stuff, right? And for me as a Christian, that is what I do believe. But for things just like I'm living right now, just saying, hey, I'm gonna like pray to God and then I'll make it out of college and I will have a successful life. That's definitely hard to believe, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
you
it's
gotta at least put in some effort.
exactly, and so that's why it's sometimes hard to believe in church miracles, right? But regardless of it, because me myself, I'm sort of agnostic in the sense, just like, is this really it?
Is this really the path I want to be?
Yeah.
Is this really gonna help?
And so I just feel like for some people, it's definitely hard. And I feel for your question, sadly, it can't really be answered because it's just a matter of faith and belief. And so the people who do believe in miracles, or in the sense of faith being able to save you and cure any ailments or diseases, just like Jesus healed the blind man in this one, or the lepers and all this stuff, all the miracles that he performed, especially like multiplying the bread, as we saw in one of the previous gospel.
Yeah.
It's definitely just like, what?
I want to quote one of my favorite movies. It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Okay. I feel like that straight up came from Harry Potter for some reason.
What?
Have you heard the oh wait, no, we're going off tangent. Have you heard the Hufflepuff scene? Oh wait, no, that was a fan thing. Oh well, okay. You know what, that was close enough.
Anyways, back to the gospel. I would say, for me, what I've got from this gospel is that the underlying message is kind of like, if you have faith, then you'll be saved. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which kind of did raise another question: is like, what is blind faith exactly? Because like, if you have blind faith, isn't that kind of just like trust falling into a cliff? I feel like it's like having your friends stand behind you and trusting them to catch you over a steep cliff.
Mm.
Like, it's either you'll be saved or you'll crash and burn. I don't like blind faith because it's never worked out, and I never really heard of. I haven't really heard of anyone say like, "Oh yeah, trust blind faith; it'll work out perfectly." No, I've never heard that.
That's definitely understandable. For Christians, for us, like, we believe that He exists and He's there for us. So this is also a question of faith specifically, where it's hard to think of something and believe in something that will save you when you don't fully see it, or
That's kind of
I understand.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem. I haven't seen him. I haven't heard him. I haven't gotten any message from him. I haven't felt him, so I personally can't find that.
Yeah, and that's definitely understandable, especially since for church, the church hasn't had first of all, the best history. They're not perfect. You'd feel like people who preach morality would act always moral and would also be able to act in the way that they are teaching.
Yeah.
And so from church teaching, just like through this gospel and many other gospels, it's hard to follow and believe in a teaching where you can't really see it. It's just like somewhat, definitely, it's like history, but it's a history that can't be really understood because there's no evidence, or I'm unsure if there is evidence, but I'm just going through what I know now. There's not really evidence to say, like, show Jesus proving these miracles. Like, there's no YouTube video, you know what I mean? And we were definitely not alive to experience it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a major challenge for
too
blind
young.
faith. Exactly. Just like, then never knew the guy, never knew that Jesus guy. Just like it's hard to understand, and I understand that. So just like with this gospel, it really depends on our belief and our faith in the teachings of Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, sadly unable to really prove or answer that.
I don't think many Christians would be able to either.
No.
Not that it really pushes me more away from it, but it's just like, I get it. It's hard to understand someone. It's hard to understand someone like the actions of. It's hard to understand the actions of another person fully until like they fully give it to you in honest ways. Yeah. But I don't know. I think I'm.
You feel like you're good now?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good
Yeah.
at questions.
So sadly, this gospel is really dependent on personal belief and like
Dedication and
faith.
like, your own faith. Yeah.
Yeah. So we understand, like, it's confusing, definitely, especially for people that are either of other religions or non-religious in the first place.
Yes.
So sadly, I wasn't able to like help out with you, but I hope we like at least got that out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's good to have these conversations, I think.
Yeah. So hopefully, Miss Q, maybe if you want, you could like leave a comment and say whatever you like or whatever you thought about this gospel. Maybe like thought of a question that you could answer. But
Yes.
yeah, I feel like that was our conversation for today, definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye,
Well,
Miss
Miss
Q.
Q.